Hey guys, what's going on? Mouse here. So, I spent the past 12 hours just researching and testing this artifact set. You guys know why? Because half of that, or more than half of that, was only spent on pinpointing a specific bug that has affected us for months. One of the biggest lies in the game, especially for guild boss players. And in this video, not only that I will share you how this artifact works, where to use them, is it good, everything really about this artifact, I will also share you how that bug could potentially affect the new artifacts that we have now. So the way this artifact works is very simple. If you have 8-piece set, you get a team fight damage dealt increase 40%. You just need to use skills, any skills except support skills, and that will include Genu's QTE, and you'll be able to activate the Chaotic Infamy, which will increase the user's basic skill and ultimate skill damage by 100%. So I know a lot of you are excited about this artifact set, so this video will help you decide whether it's good for you, whether it's worth pursuing or not, because I'm going to show you the damage test, and I'm also going to show you some Theorycraft numbers later in this video. And for now, let me just showcase you this a bit, just so you would know, and just in case you don't have this artifact set yet. So basically, like I said, you just need to press a skill. You get one stack, just press a skill, one stack, any skill really. Weapon skills included, QTE included, shadow step included. So meaning if you're using Jin or maybe a skill spammer hunter, you can actually activate that very quickly. So let's check the damage and see whether or not it's worth it. So for the first test, we're gonna use magnifying slashes. Okay, so I'm gonna do a magnifying bug, and our damage now is 1.6 million. Okay, again, just to show you some. There you go. There, 1.8 million. So I think it's 1.8 million. Maybe one of the attacks did not hit for that 1.6 million. Just one last try. Yeah, it's 1.8, exactly 1.8 million damage. So now what we're gonna do next is that we're gonna get 10 stacks to activate Chaotic Infamy, and then we're gonna try magnifying slashes damage. 9 stacks, one more. There, ready. Get some patterns. Now, look at the damage. It's now 1.962 million from around 1.8. This is the damage. So I'm not gonna repeat that again because I already know the answer, and I'm gonna explain it to you. This is not a bug, by the way. I'm gonna explain the bug later in this video, but for now, let's focus on this artifact set. So you might be wondering, why is it that the damage increase was very low, even though it is like a 100% basic skill and ultimate skill damage increase? So here's the explanation. So anything you see that increases the skill damage, let me just give you a few examples. The damage of magnifying slashes increases by 275% for 3 seconds. So the staff weapon also has that increased damage 100% every stack up to 5 times. DKD also has that, I believe. Yeah, increases the damage of the crackling thunder and a lot of other skills. So every time you see something similar, this one, this is additive to skill damage multipliers or skill damage increase, and that includes basic skill or ultimate skill, anything. Even the hunters, if you see something like from Mirei, for example, the 80% here, the 30% here is all the same. Okay, so what happens is that, for example, the magnifying slashes, this will give you 275%, stacking up to 2 times. So that's 550%. So meaning you already have a 550% skill damage increase in the first place. So adding further 100 apparently will not increase your damage that much because it has already been diminished. So for example, your base damage is 100%, and if you're hitting with 2 stacks, that's gonna be 550% for a total of 650%. Add more 100 skill damage increase to that, that will become 750%. And the increase, if you do that, is only 15.4%. That's it. It's not 100%. Now, if that's the case, then wouldn't it be useless? Of course not, because there are other skills that don't have this kind of skill damage increase, and there are hunters that also don't have this, or even if they have them, it's very low that you will still see the increase. It just so happened that skills like magnifying slashes with high bonus skill damage multipliers will not work well with those kinds of effects. All right, so to show you that, let's try another skill. So maybe we can just use the Cutting Rush Annihilation. This is a one-hit skill. So damage is 442, 583. And by the way, I forgot to mention that the first hit will already have a 2.5% basic skill damage increase. But we're not going to pay attention too much about that because that's not the point of this. So now let's try to hit it again with 10 stacks. For attack pattern. Boom. 762,673. So we saw the numbers, but still 442,583 to 762,673 is still not 100% skill damage increase. Right now, this is only 72%. So ideally, it should be 100%, like solid 100%. If you try it outside the guild boss, like the story mode, you're gonna get 100% for sure. But one thing here is affecting the overall damage or the overall yield, not only from that artifact, but from everything else that has skill and ultimate skill damage related multipliers. And that is this guild boss buff. Increased damage to guild boss by 10%. So I'm serious, guys. It took me this is the second time that I have noticed that something was off in the guild boss damage in magnifying slashes. 2 months ago, I contacted BRRR and I experienced that again with this artifact, and then I contacted him again and he helped me out. Literally, I spent like 6 hours straight because I couldn't sleep without getting the answer. If it was a bug or if it was something that was happening on my account, I have asked a lot of my guild mates. We've also tried this in my sub account and we found the answer. Okay, so thanks, shout out to BRR, even though he already quit the game, still helping me out with when it comes to these numbers. So, what is the bug here? Increased damage to guild boss by 10%. Apparently, this is fake. Yes, this is fake. The actual benefit that you're getting from this is actually plus 30% skill damage. And that means since it's adding more skill damage and it's additive to that artifact and everything else that of similar multipliers, then it's actually causing a diminishing returns or diminishing value on whatever you add afterwards if you use the guild buff. POD buff is okay, it's 5%, so that's very, very minimal. But in the guild boss, 30%, that's huge. Although the effect of 30% from 30%, we want that, of course. It's just that it can potentially affect the new artifact. So let me just show you a bit. We actually talked a lot, like for hours now. And just to show you, so this is the POD buff. And I also tested the ultimate damage, skill damage from Mirei from 89,788 to 107,274 by adding one hit kill. It's not adding an actual 25%. So if you get the base here, you're gonna get a base damage of 69,000. And if you multiply it or add 30% from the guild boss and 25% from the one hit kill, that's gonna be 69,067 times 1.55, 107k. So yeah, again, this thing is bugged or wrong description again. I haven't checked the other languages. Oh my goodness. 30%. It's huge though, but just know that it's not an actual 10% damage increase. Because for example, if you're using your magnifying slashes, adding 30% to this, that's not that much. It's gonna be slightly below 10%. And for other skills as well, and for other hunters as well. And with that, we now have to take that into consideration. So now let me share you some of the numbers here. So just a disclaimer, this is purely theoretical and I'm not a good mathematician. I know the basics, of course, so just take whatever I'm going to show here, whatever I'm going to say here with a grain of salt. So now let's talk about who can use this efficiently. The two prospects here are Kanae and Mirei, of course. So what we have here are the buff of whatever we're getting from Gina, from Gina's weapon, buff, Isil, guild rank, passive attack percent, and the damage increase from the stats from the Guardian set. We also compared multiple setup with 50 expert stacks, 100 expert stacks, curse plus 1 hit kill, and then the 8-piece Chaotic Infamy set. Just to show you, I also added the guild buff already. So here, this is just the Crimson damage, which is just gonna serve as a sample. So this is the Kamaitachi Crimson. The multiplier is 2.4k% plus 30% on that. And by the way, just to clarify this is different from the basic skills and ultimate skills. They're not classified as the same. So this is a bonus damage equal to 30% of the skill's damage dealt. It's not a skill damage bonus. So this is a solid multiplier, and adding ultimate skill damage will give you a pretty solid non-diminished damage output. So going back, for the 2-piece expert with 50 stacks, all things considered, we got 23.9k, and the 100 stacks we got 29,781. And with the 8-piece infamy set, let me just change that to GB because we're gonna talk about GB this time. We got 30,346%. And without the team fight bonus, which is going to be the 40% damage dealt, plus the fake guild buff, it's only 20,000. And looking at this, the 8-piece infamy set with full stacks of expert in GB with fake buff, infamy is stronger by 1.9% with full stacks of expert. And with 50 stacks, infamy is stronger by 26.90%. in GB with fake buff. My goodness, how could those things happen, really? Unbelievable. But anyway, so you will see that it's almost equal, but we have to consider as well that the infamy set can actually stack up much faster. It's gonna be fast, like it's just in just a few rotations, especially with Kanae. So that's why I believe that for Kanae, this is something that we want. I'm planning to get an 8-piece set for Kanae. But again, we have to try that. This is just on paper. There are so many variables involved here, but at least this is just a basis that it is possibly good. Okay, right now it's possibly good because we can't test it in actual right now. We don't have the full set yet to compare the actual damage output. I'll probably do some tests maybe in a few days time, but for now we can leave it at this. So I also did one for Mirei. It's still quite messy because I added some Goto Ryuji stuff here, but let's focus on the things that I found out. So firstly, the 8-piece set in the guild boss, assuming we're using the win team with just the regular setup and the buffs that they provide, we're getting 69% damage increase. And for the curse plus expert with full stacks, it's gonna be 111%. And another interesting part here is that the infamy plus expert, 4-piece infamy plus 4-piece expert, is at 107%. So it's very, very close to the curse plus expert setup. But do consider, however, that all of these might have different performance. So firstly, the 8-piece set can be stacked much faster because you only need 10 stacks to activate that 100% basic skill damage, and you also get that MP regen benefit. For the curse plus expert, the stacking is quite slow, although it will already be close to the 50 stacks expert right here, 65%. And also, it doesn't have that MP regen. And the infamy plus expert will have slightly less damage, but will have the MP regen as well. So I'm not sure yet which one will perform best because there's so much factors in the current guild boss. Like for example, the majority of the damage will only happen at the last minute. after the second break. So this is something that we would need to test in actual combat as well. But personally, I am looking forward to getting Infamy plus Expert because I know that the 5% MP regen, even though it's only every 30 seconds, I think it will help Mirei a lot. So aside from Mirei and Kanae, there are some other units that could potentially benefit from that as well. Just do remember that every time you see, again, those kinds of things, skill damage increase, things like those, that would mean that the basic skill damage that you're gonna get from that artifact or from everywhere else is gonna be additive to this, and therefore there will be a diminished value. So now let's talk about when to use them. For Song Jinwoo, most of the time, I don't think it's going to be used because most of Song Jinwoo's skills, most of Song Jinwoo's weapons like the staff, the DKD, the magnifying slashes that you're going to use with the plum sword, even the light sonic stream here, for example, 240%. So most of Song Jinwoo's skills have lots of skill damage increase, and therefore I can't think of any situation yet where we would need that. Maybe the fire is okay for the dagger toss, but I would probably just still go with expert set. And anyway, for the hunters, let me just give you a few examples here. So obviously, we can only use this on teamfight. Outside of teamfight, I believe that you should still use the old artifact sets. For example, in the simulation gate, you would need lots of damage increase to improve your code and protocol bonus damage. Those almighty, medium, whatever damage from the hotfix, things like those. And if you use something like the Chaotic Infamy that mainly gives basic skill and ultimate skill damage, and the problem with that is that in Simulation Gate, you're gonna get lots of basic skill damage. So I think this set mostly, in general, will not be used outside of team fights. Okay, so it's still gonna be the old artifacts, so they're not gonna be useless. And if you don't like playing team fights, you don't even have to farm for this. The damage bonus is almost non-existent.
So for Kanae, I think this one is good even in other game content like WOBL, but in Simulation Gate, of course, we don't want to use this because we're gonna get lots of ultimate skill damage from that. And just do remember that 8-piece set will have more total power, so that will help also in that regard instead of using a broken 2-2-4 set or a 4-piece set. So I think it's okay to use this in clearing content except Simulation Gate.
So yeah, just to sum it up, this artifact set is mostly for teamfight, and it's not gonna work well with skills for hunters. Already has lots of basic skill or ultimate skill damage increase. Mirei's Cross Darkness 30%, A5 already tested this. You guys can confirm it as well by testing it with Hansemi. And also, I forgot to mention this is also very important because Hansemi gives you up to 30% basic skill damage, so you're gonna be adding more and more to that. And Goto Ryuji will be giving you 20% basic skill damage. So again, as you stack more of the basic skill damage and the skill damage increase multipliers in all of these skills, like for example Reverse Tempest, Stormblade increasing its damage by 50%. If I recall correctly, I also tested this. This is also additive to that. That means, again, that set will not work well with anything skills hunters that already has high skill damage bonus multipliers, the additional ones. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. That would help me a lot. And don't forget to support me in the SLA Content Creator Program. We have a lot more codes to give away soon. And of course, join my Discord server if you need some help when it comes to builds. Join a community of people who are serious about the game. Thank you so much once again. See you on the next one.